Are we designed to be sick? Steve Wilson from Grand Junction, Colorado. We need to look at this in a very special way, in that as a nation, we are really quite ill. Is it just a finger of fate, or is it by choice that we are as we are? We're overweight, we're dealing with cardiovascular issues, diabetes is rampant, dementia is on the rise. There are not many things that we're not having. Very serious emotional issues. Things are taking place where people are just making decisions that seem so wrong. I'd like to address this from a different viewpoint. Roots to fruits. I think I found an analogy here that is most fitting for what we're going to try to get to as we go through this. The root system of a tree is most interesting. First of all, if you plant your tree or your shrubs or your plants or whatever in rich soil, the benefits from that, or the fruits of it, are really quite interesting. There is always financial freedom, there's physical freedom, there's this thing called emotional freedom, and spiritual freedom. These are all byproducts of good soil. What is in this rich soil that's abundant in the things that we need to work through the system of a tree? Well, first of all, there should be a lot of wisdom because of the knowledge that we beget or that we acquire from understanding this. The understanding that comes after knowledge, and then that whole thing is based on the principles that we should live by, the precepts of what really it is that makes us function as a culture, and of course the instructions that we must follow, and the discipline. And it is one thing to know all of these things, so motion without action doesn't mean anything. In fact, it is the inaction or the non-belief of what we are told and how we are told to live that brings us into the following problem. That if you have poor soils, in other words, if you've sunk your system into an arena where the soil is not filled with the information that we need, so you wind up with no knowledge, lack of wisdom, lack of understanding. In fact, from there it gets quite ugly. There are no principles, there are no precepts, there is no instruction, and there's usually no discipline. Simply put, where there is discipline and instruction, there is freedom if we follow those precepts and those principles. One of the most interesting things I've noticed about the soil and growing up on a farm is there are nutrients, and these nutrients can lead to most anything. And there's an incredible support system within the roots. We live in a part of the world where aspen tree is prevalent in our part of the world, and they have a very unusual root system. They don't grow deep, but they do commingle with one another. So it's kind of an accountability and a support system that they support each other, and it's an incredible thing to unearth and watch. And that's much like what we are in life, is we support one another. We hold each other accountable. And we begin to kind of feed off of one another's strengths and support them. So it's with that in mind that it's a simple approach to life that we should follow and find what these supports are, follow them, and we in fact can become free.